Ray trace rendering calculates how light will travel off and through the different surfaces of our model to create a realistic representation of our design. Often this light comes from external sources, but in the case of our desk lamp model here, it needs to give off its own light from its bulb. Once our model is complete, we can go to the render window and we need to start applying materials to the different components of our model. So we go to Appearance, we can scroll down and we can see our library of materials. Some of the materials you might choose might have a download symbol at the end, so you might first have to download that. So you can see the little arrows on ash glossy there. But once it's downloaded, you can just drag and drop and apply the material to that component. Now I want the bulb component of our model here to emit light, so we go to Miscellaneous, Emissive, and then we can choose a preset material that will emit light. So we've got LED there. If we scroll up, right click and edit, we can edit those existing materials, changing the level of luminance given off or the colour of that light. Next I'm going to set up the conditions of the scene, from which we can select the level of light from external sources. We can decide whether we've got reflections on the ground plane, whether we've got shadows, the clarity of that reflection, the angle of the camera, as well as the shutter exposure. But for now we're going to keep all that as default. We're going to reset that. If we click depth of field, we can select a point of focus and then blur the image as it moves away from that point. There are a good number of preset environments in our environment library. We're going to use rim highlights, but we're going to come back to settings and just bring the brightness level down to 600 lux so that I can see the light given off from my LED lamp. And now I'm happy with my settings, I can create my ray trace render. If you do it locally, it'll obviously use the processor on your computer, or you can use the cloud render, which will free up your computer processor to do other tasks while it's rendering. So that image will pop up down the bottom there in our rendering gallery once it's ready. If we look at some that I've already rendered, you can see it creates a high resolution render of our materials, including the light given off by our LED. We can then download that. I usually download it as a PNG because that's good enough for what I need. Then we can name that and we have an image file that we can add to our design portfolio.